Are you tired of all the voices who say, focus on the bottom line numbers?
Say whatever you have to, just close the sale.
Just get the credit card. It doesn't matter what you deliver.
You will never build a successful business until you grow a pair and stop caring so much.
Here, we respectfully disagree. We give you permission to embrace who you are, how much you care, and encourage you to design a business that works for you and your clients. Welcome to The Art of Giving a Damn, the podcast that proves with every single episode that you can create a profitable business doing what you're passionate about and making a positive difference in the world. Now here's your host, Michelle Schaefer.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of The Art of Giving a Damn. Today, my guest is Cyndy Porter. Cyndy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
I am really looking forward to this conversation. So by way of introduction, you are the owner of Success Through Style. You help female entrepreneurs create a personal brand, dress with intention, and live their best lives. You're an award-winning certified photographer, image consultant, author, motivational speaker, and prior to starting your business, you actually spent 20 years in high-tech sales and marketing. So you've got a pretty interesting background and transition there.
Yep. I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
What got you started in moving and shifting from tech sales and marketing into style and branding?
Yeah, it does sound crazy, doesn't it, when you think about it? So I graduated college, went into sales and marketing, thought that was going to be my career, and I hated it. I actually did not love it. And, I don't know if you or your viewers can relate to
okay.
You're good at something, but you don't really like it. And you get up in the morning and it's like, it's a job. And so, there were times where I liked it more than other times. And I worked for both startups and Fortune 500s, totally different. But I'm just not a political animal. Like, I hate office politics, and what I love about owning my own business is that I get to be completely genuine and authentic. And if somebody doesn't relate to me, they don't have to work with me, and I don't have to play the game. Honestly.
Yeah. I know you are not alone in that feeling. Yeah.
So, I got caught up in the internet boom and was lucky that I could, quote unquote, retire from the corporate world when I was 38.
Gotcha.
And reinvent myself. So that's what I did. I had always loved photography, was an amateur photographer. And so I'm a little bit type A, and I decided, well, I'm just going to start a photography studio, and why have a hobby if you can make a job out of it? And I got certified because I wanted to prove to myself that I was doing professional level work. I think there are a lot of photographers out there that aren't great at it, and they call themselves photographers, and I didn't want to be one of them.
Yeah, that makes sense. There is that, especially when you're switching careers like that. It's a good idea to actually go through something like that and get certified in whatever the next thing is that you're focused on. Can understand that. So I gotta wonder, when you were in marketing for that many years, did you see a lot of brands that could use a little help?
Absolutely.
That was my first thought when I read that. I was like, after 20 years, I bet you had all sorts of, let's call it inspiration for what you do today to dive into and really look at that. Because a lot of times we look at image and the way we dress, and we don't realize how tied it is to the brand and to what we're putting out there. So let's talk about that for a minute. For women who are entrepreneurs and maybe working from home most of the time, we're still on video, we're still going to events, networking things. Where do you start when it comes to personal branding and tying it in to the style that you present?
Yeah, so when you said I have an interesting background, I kind of do, because I was able to take what I knew about product and brand marketing. Yeah. And then when I got into photography, right, that's all about art. And so what I've done is I've taken brand marketing, used those same principles to an individual, personal marketing. And I my now, decade of experience as a professional photographer, and before that, years and years of feeling like an artist, right? And put them together, because when we show up, right, the first thing, I mean, we know that when you go to a website, you've got a couple seconds to make a first impression.
Yep.
And it's the same with us, right? We walk into a room, and unfortunately, we are hardwired to judge each other first based on how we look.
Yeah.
So to do that with intention is what I'm all about. So it starts with the brand always. I have people ask me, so what do you think about how I look in this outfit? And I won't answer until I know who you are and what you want to project. Because if you are, you know, a little bit bohemian and you're, you know, that's who you are, and you're, you know, maybe more nurturing and you're more carefree, as compared to somebody who's maybe an accountant who wants to look completely put together and serious, right? You should show up differently. So I can't answer that question until I know who you are, right?
You know, and that's important, because I think a lot of people try to answer it in that bubble of just in the moment instead of looking at that whole picture, because it matters what it is and how you want to present and show up when it comes to those questions and decisions. So that's a great point. You know, I think the other piece that really matters that a lot of people don't talk about the way you do is the confidence piece of it.
Oh, yeah.
And I know that's something that whether women are just starting their business or they've left corporate and now they're on their own, or whatever the circumstances are, it's sometimes a struggle to be confident in the way that we show up and the way that we communicate about who we are and what we do when we're on our own more. So let's talk about that for a minute. Starting from authenticity, I'm sure, makes a difference in that. What do you see as the way that branding and image are connected to confidence?
Yeah, I think confidence, especially for women, is a huge issue. So the reason that I focus my business on women is because all the research shows that men are kind of hardwired to be overconfident. and women show that 4% of all women worldwide believe they're beautiful. So many women get up in the morning, look in the mirror, and tell themselves they're not enough. And they focus on, wish my eyes were bigger, or wish I was 20 pounds thinner, or wish, you know, I wasn't aging and I didn't have wrinkles, like whatever it is, or when we're younger, it was whatever, right? So I feel like you can't succeed if you don't carry confidence with you. And I get it, because I was kind of successful despite my confidence. I had a childhood that was a train wreck, really low self-esteem. I never felt pretty. I'd look in the mirror and just like never feel good about myself. And I realized that it was like carrying, you know, the analogy I use is I feel like I had a backpack full of bricks, and everywhere I went, it slowed me down, because like, how often do you have to raise your hand in a meeting and have the confidence that what you say people are going to hear, or ask for a raise, or, you know, set personal boundaries? Like, all of those things come down to self-confidence.
Yeah.
So that's really what my business is about at the end of the day, is developing self-confidence.
Well, and it's one of those things that so often we focus just on the internal part of that, and there is absolutely internal work to do when it comes to confidence, but having the right outfit on, we all know this, we have that one pair of shoes or that one top or that one set of earrings that when we're wearing them, we just feel better about ourselves. And I think that's something that, you know, if you learn what it is that you feel confident in, you can dress that way that does help you have that confidence. And it's something that, you know, is easier said than done, I think, for a lot of us who don't have your expertise in that particular area. So where do you advise women to start with that piece of finding the things that they're going to feel confident in?
Well, so I think that it's a matter of, I mean, you do need to start with who you are, and then what does it look to project that? And then what happens is you go into the world and people compliment you. And we are so, I mean, unfortunately, like you talked about the inner peace, which is it takes so much longer to develop that. But if you can start to show up and have people say, oh my God, you look great today. Or even if it's, I love your earrings or your shoes or your jacket, it gives you a little boost. And the more you learn how to do that, the more those little boosts carry with you over and over again. So I do have a process that I walk people through, and I think it's the first thing you should do, though, is get really clear on who you are and what you want to communicate, so that if you can say, these are the 5 adjectives that I want the world, how I want the world to see me. So
Okay.
is it approachable? Is it sophisticated? Is it edgy? Is it provocative? Like whatever, who are you, you know? And then you can start to go through your closet and say, well, if I want to show up a little edgy and, you know, get people to think about things differently, but I'm wearing all these floral patterns, which are really lovely and feminine. Like those are not, one's not right and the other wrong, but they're consistent, right? So that's the first thing. And then maybe just starting to learn like what colors look good on you, so that color is one of the biggest things, because there's a psychological factor behind, are you wearing black or are you I mean, even the difference between black and navy, one is more approachable, one is more mysterious, right? And if you have lighter, softer features, wearing lighter, softer colors next to your skin, you are going to show up in a much more approachable way. So I think just trying, you know, if you don't have somebody like me to work with, then I think just trying and going out there and seeing the reaction of other people.
I've never heard anybody suggest that 5 adjectives exercise. I love that because it makes so much sense. Like that's something I can do, is figure out what are the 5 words that describe how I want to be perceived, and then go through my closet, because you're right. It's tough to filter through your own clothes when you don't have some sort of standard to go by. So that totally makes sense. You also mentioned color, and that's when I see people talk about a lot, and I have absolutely no idea where one would start with that. So how do you figure out what colors, other than we've all seen the charts online of, you know, red projects either danger or confidence, and blue projects trust, and that's more like logo branding colors, and I'm not exactly a logo. How do you figure that out with clients? What colors make sense for that?
Well, you know, the same principles that apply to those things do apply to when we wear the colors. So I know you're not a walking logo, but it is true that if you wear purple versus bright yellow or neon versus black, we do have a reaction to those things. But I also think sorry.
No, we're good. I just wanted to ask, how do you balance that with what most like stylists would tell you about? There are certain colors that you're a fall, you're a winter, you're a cool, you're a warm. Don't ever wear this color. Because I've had people tell me that, and I understand why. Because certain colors just do not go with my coloring, even though they might project a specific emotion. So how do you balance those things?
Yeah, so I think it's all of it, right? So the first thing in my world, and the way I go at it, which is a little different, I think, is to bring this whole branding piece. So what do you want to communicate? Think about that. But then when we look at your coloring, so as an artist, as a photographer, I use the color wheel, right? So all the principles of the color wheel apply to all colors everywhere. And that color wheel was invented in like 1809, and it hasn't changed. Like all artists work off the color wheel. And so if you Google a color wheel, you'll see half of it are cool colors, half of it are warm colors. And then what I work for are, as an artist, if you were to take colors and add white or water or brown, which would make a toasted color, or black, which would make a shaded color, all of those things will matter as to what your natural features are, right? So what color is your hair, your skin, your eyes, your lips. Right. So then you can look at which of those colors are harmonious, the same way an artist would. But I will tell you that I think it's the hardest thing to do for yourself.
I can imagine. Yeah. That seems like something that professional help would be, good.
That's the one area. And I've actually just launched a color app. So it's not a free color app.
I haven't seen this.
Yeah, it's brand new. If you go on to Success Through Style on the Apple Store or on the Play Store, you can download it. But it's not, I have to work on my free version, which I'm going to work on right now. It's a paid solution where somebody takes a selfie. I get the selfie. I bring their headshot into Photoshop, And I then create their palette for them the same way you
Oh,
would get a color analysis done. And then you have it on your phone. You don't have to spend any time. You don't even have to, work with me if you don't want to. But then you own your colors, and the rest of it I think you can learn pretty easily, right? But the colors, unless you have an artist's eye, it's just hard to know which colors should I wear or not wear.
yeah. No, that's a great idea. I love that concept. I'm going to have to check that out because that would be not just convenient to have that, but so helpful to have somebody else looking at that piece of things and helping you figure out where to start. Because it's like anything else. I know people who are amazing at all sorts of things, but for themselves, it's tough to do.
Right.
And then if you really, it's not your gift anyway, it's better to have somebody else's eyes on it.
I just think seeing color is something that you have to learn, right?
Yeah.
And so I have to learn it because I need to give it to lots of people, but you don't need to learn it because you only need it for yourself. So if you just know this is my palette of colors, then you work from there.
Yeah.
Then the rest, I think, can be intuitive over time.
Gotcha. Yeah, I can see where, just like the 5 adjectives, once you know generally this is what I'm looking for color-wise, seems like that would get easier to apply and you'd start to get more confident with it. So what are the biggest mistakes that you see, especially female entrepreneurs, making when it comes to their style and the way that they're dressing to show up in terms of their business engagements?
Well, I really think it's like where we first started. I think that as entrepreneurs, we're super busy. And it's really easy to say how I look doesn't matter. It's who I am. It's what I sell. It's what, how I help other people. I'm making a big difference in the world doing X, Y, and Z. So I'm not going to put the time into myself. And it's a time commitment to what clothes are you going to wear, put your makeup on, have your hair done, like all of the things that you do to show up. It makes a big difference in how other people perceive you. And so many women just don't want to invest the time in that. And it's like not having a brand for your business. You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't not have a business card or a logo or, an understanding of how you want to represent your business.
So one of the things that I loved on your site was you have a little style quiz. Talk to us about that.
Yeah. So, when I work with my clients, we go through this process, right? And we figure out your brand and we figure out your adjectives and we figure out your values and why you want to live this life. And, another thing I recommend is to write a personal mission statement. So we do all these things, right? And then the next step is, okay, so dress this. And so a lot of my clients are like, well, I don't know what that looks like. Like it might be easy for you to say, I'm modern. Like, what does that look like compared to, I'm approachable or I'm nurturing or I'm edgy or whatever. So I have created 9 avatars that basically most women fall into one of these avatars or a combination. And I've created a quiz that you can take if you just go to my website and take the quiz, and it will tell you based on how you answered, you are most likely.
Yeah.
Not always. We don't always nail it, but it's a good starting place. So, and then on Pinterest, I have examples of how that avatar would dress. So it's about, okay, so the test says you're classic, and it looks like this to be classic. And then you start to feel, does that resonate with me or not?
Yeah. Well, I thought it was really cool because I was expecting the typical questions when I clicked quiz, and it wasn't. It was images, and I was just clicking the images that, were most like me. And I thought I think it actually nailed my typical style, to be honest with you.
What did it say?
Oh, so it came up with bohemian avatar, which is interesting because left to myself in a store, that is definitely what I would come out with. Yeah. And I didn't realize they were on Pinterest. I'm gonna have to go look at Pinterest for sure. But it was a very cool, unique way to come to that, because I've gone through style quizzes before, and I get lost with the long questions of, if I knew the right answer to this, I wouldn't be taking the quiz. That's how a lot of style quizzes are. So I thought this was really cool. I wanted to mention that. So just for everybody listening, there is a link somewhere near the video or audio today where you can find that quiz, but it's Success Through Style THRU. So thru, the short version, successthrustyle.com. You can find that. And I challenge you to go take the quiz and see what it comes up with for you. For me, it was definitely accurate, and it was a very different type of quiz. So I had fun with that. Just wanted to point that out. The other thing that I loved on your site for just for reference to see was the before and afters that you've got of what transformations look like when you take that time to figure out what is my style, how do I want to show up. So talk to us a little bit about that. What is your favorite part of working with clients doing what you do?
Yeah, it is so, I absolutely love what I do. I am just so passionate about it. And I've had clients who have told me I'm at the heaviest I've ever been in all my life, but I feel the most beautiful. And I actually have one client who has now lost a whole bunch of weight, where I'm not sure she would have if she hadn't first got the confidence that she was amazing just the way she was. And then going through the process from a place of I want to be healthier now that, I deserve it to be healthier and to live my best life. There's another one that's featured on those before and afters who's just turned 70 and she's never felt more beautiful in all her life. And it's like she's the best. It's like when I first met her, she thought she was fine. She didn't even think she had an issue with confidence. But now it's like, oh my God, I spent my whole life being frumpy and I didn't even know it. And it's inspired her husband to hear about how he looks. They have the cutest romantic relationship now, and they're so it's life changing for so many women. And because, as I mentioned, for me, I struggled with that myself, and to be able to, at any size, at any age, look in the mirror and know you are doing the best with yourself and that you're communicating to the world who you are, and you are attracting the kind of people you want into your life. I just can't imagine ever wanting to do anything different than this.
That is both powerful, and I'm sure it's fulfilling to watch that transformation happen and see people step into that confident version of themselves, because they're going to go out there and make a bigger impact and succeed at a different level once they've got that.
Yeah.
Love that. Awesome. Well, I appreciate so much your time today and coming on and sharing your expertise and your experience and what you see working, some actionable tips that people can take and go put those 5 adjectives together, look through your closets, see what makes sense. I think that's a really great exercise. So I appreciate so much you being on the show today.
Thank you. It's such an honor. I think what you're doing is amazing, and I love your podcast, and I'm honored that you gave me the opportunity to come and talk to you today.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate that. For everybody listening, make sure you go over to successthrustyle.com. Again, there's a link somewhere near where you are watching or listening to this today. And you can take that quiz, see what comes out for you. And you can reach out to Cyndy with any questions. I'm going to be checking out your app on my phone here, see what that's all about. That sounds like a fascinating concept. So thank you again so much for your time. For everybody listening, please like, rate, review, subscribe to the show, and we will see you back again soon for another episode.